Well, folks, another live. I come to you with terrifying news, and honestly, it sucks to come on here under these premises. Uh, it's not the worst, but it's certainly not the best. We'll get into all of it momentarily, but the news came out, and my God. Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And as you all know, the news broke around dinner time yesterday, a little before dinner time, depending on when you eat dinner, that, in fact, yes, Jack Hughes the night before sustained one of the most fluke injuries we've heard of arguably ever, and that he suffered a cut on his hand of some kind. There was a confusion at first whether it was a steak knife at the Chicago Cut restaurant that we all saw images of the night before. One of those images will now forever live in infamy, obviously. Jack holding up a jersey of the restaurant Chicago Cut. I mean, this is just foreshadowing at its finest. This image will forever go down in history, but we see this image and it comes out that Jack suffers a fluke cut of some kind. At first, it wasn't clear whether it was a knife or whatever it was, but that he was going to miss the Capitals game. And that's all we kind of knew. People were speculating like wild, people writing all kinds of nonsense online. You know how the internet goes. Just rumors galore, people blaming it on Frank the Tank because he took a picture with them at some point before this. Either way, we didn't have a lot of clarity. Everyone thought we would get word today when Sheldon Keefe speaks with the media around 4:45 or so prior to the Caps game. But all we knew at the time was that Jack Hughes was not going to be playing the Capitals game. And due to the lack of information, I feared for the worst. And while it's not the worst, it certainly is not one of the better case scenarios. The Devils released just a short time ago. The New Jersey Devils have provided the following medical update. New Jersey Devils center Jack Hughes underwent successful surgery on his finger. The procedure was performed by Dr. Robert Hotchkiss at the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. The expected return to play timeline is 8 weeks, and he will be reevaluated after the 6-week mark. And my God, I was not feeling good about this all night long, and all today I've had all my Devils fan friends texting me about this. We've all been talking, and unfortunately, I've kind of maintained the same standpoint from the beginning that because the fact that they did not say, you get a couple stitches or something, we'll be back in a week or two, that it was going to be something more long-term. And here we have it. 8 weeks is the expectation, which puts us at mid-January. And it really sucks. Obviously, on top of all the other pre-existing injuries the New Jersey Devils had, this is just yet another blow to the club. And for it to happen in the way that it did, not even an on-ice situation, I mean, it really sucks. I am gutted for Jack Hughes, and there's not much more to say on this. It's just unbelievable bad luck. I do believe the curse is real, and we're going to see Jack again in mid-January. I mean, prayers up for Jack Hughes. Hopefully he recovers. Hopefully he's doing fine mentally. As everybody knows, he's been injury riddled throughout his career, but that was limited to injuries sustained while playing the sport of hockey that he gets paid handsomely to play for our beloved New Jersey Devils. Different injuries over the course of his career thus far on the ice. To see an injury like this off of the ice in some fluke thing where he cuts his hand on a glass and now is out 2 months, I'm absolutely devastated for, as a Devils fan, and I'm devastated for Jack personally. He was having quite the season to start off. Looked like he was, finding his groove, and we've seen him dominate games like we're used to seeing from, vintage Jack Hughes. And it's really unfortunate. The team's obviously in a great place in terms of standings and points and record. But now with this newest injury on top of all of the other injuries, it certainly seems like this team is cursed. And I won't be convinced otherwise. The whole right side of the defense going down. Starting off without Kovacevic, obviously. And then we find out Nason's going to miss the start of the season going back to last year in the rehab. And then on the young season thus far, we have Pesci go down, blocking shots like the animal that he is. Dougie Hamilton goes down. Connor Brown was a shiny new toy for this Devils club, a huge part of the bottom six revamp. He goes down. Zach McEwen comes here from Ottawa in the Curtis McDermott trade. Looks like he's going to plug in as a beautiful, beautiful addition on that fourth line. He goes down. And then he comes at Cody Glass. How can I forget Cody Glass goes down? A massive loss for this club at center. The position where they lack the most depth of any other center is a dire need. I'll get into that again in a minute. But And then finally, they're like, all right, maybe we're starting to turn the corner. Some of these guys are healing and coming back. And Cody Glass comes back, plays a couple games. He gets re-injured in that game the other night against Chicago. Zach McEwen comes back and gets smashed into the boards. He's out again. And so it's just like one thing after another. This team is cursed with injuries. And the latest one is an injury that doesn't even happen during a game. A 2-month injury to Jack Hughes sustained at a restaurant. And I just hope that, Jack is doing okay mentally because, like I said before, a guy that has been constantly kind of questioned and people talk about the injuries and it's kind of become a narrative. And I mean, it's somewhat justified in that he has had all these injuries in his young career. But for this one to happen, not even happening, playing hockey with the team playing well and Jack really stepping up and having a great start to the season, he must be just absolutely distraught right now. And hopefully, he's with family and friends or whatever to make him feel better. But I really feel bad for the kid. 24 years old, guys. Everyone forgets how young some of these guys are. Jack Hughes is 24 years old, a mere child. He is a child. And he's had the spotlight on him for years, feeling the pressure of being a franchise player, a superstar in the league. And while healthy, he's one of the most electric players in the league. But here we are now, him missing time again. And this one is not related to hockey at all. It is completely unfortunate. Like I said, I am gutted for him. I am gutted as a Devils fan. But, as a human being, some of you people have no heart. Like, this kid really wants to win. He's a competitor. He's a fiery young guy. And this has got to absolutely kill him. This must absolutely kill this young man to have to go through this right now. And it's super unfortunate. I just hope that, this doesn't break him because this is really just, it's completely insane. And so for this to happen again at this time of the year, just getting it going in an Olympic year. And so now I hope he still makes he still plays for Team USA. The 8 weeks could be, maybe it could end up being longer than that. I hope it is only 8 weeks, but you're talking about now 2 months from now brings us to mid-January. The Olympics start like February 13th or 14th, something like that. And so that would give him a month prior to the Olympics to kind of get back in game shape and get everything going. I do think he will still play for the Olympic team, but I'd have to say at this juncture, it is at least a worry. It's at least a worry for himself. I'm sure in Team USA, we don't know how often these opportunities are going to present themselves. I'm not sure if the league is confirmed to send the NHL players in the 2030 Olympics. I thought maybe I read that they were. But either way, during even a long career, you don't have many opportunities to play in the Olympics for your country. Team USA obviously looking for some revenge on Canada and everyone else for all the devastating losses that Team Canada has given USA over the years, including the 2002 gold medal game, the 2010 gold medal game, obviously the Four Nations Championship game, as many of you saw. But this team is going to have to buckle down and find ways to win games now. The latest horrible news to this Devils club, the whole right side of the defense down, Cody Glass down, Connor Brown, we have no idea what's going on with him. I mean, it's just completely nuts. I need to get some caffeine here. I'm not going to lie. I did fear, there's a lot of ligaments and tendons, and I'm not a doctor, obviously, but there's all kinds of, very delicate things in your hands and fingers. And at some point last night, I didn't talk about it out loud because I just didn't want to even put these negative thoughts in the air. But I thought there was a chance that this could be a season-ending injury. The thought did cross my mind, and I'm very glad for everyone involved, and obviously Jack, that is not the case. But there are a lot of ways this could go, depending on the slice and all that. Years ago, when I was a kid, my brother actually was opening a cat food can to feed our cat. And they have those razor sharp cans. He pulled it in some weird way. Again, these are super fluke injuries. They could happen to anyone. And again, for everyone going, how does this happen? He's injury prone. Like, in the end, athletes are human beings. Freak shit can happen to them too. They are not insulated or immune from just crazy, unfortunate things happening. But when I was a kid, my brother pulled the cat food can and the corner, the round top went shoo, and he, I believe, sliced either ligaments or tendons in his finger. It was completely insane. As a young kid, seeing pools of blood everywhere. It looked like a murder crime scene. Ambulance comes. He had to get hours of microsurgery. And so when I first heard this, that story kind of crossed my mind. And my brother had like a cast and all kinds of shit for a very long time. So obviously hands, fingers, all very delicate. very crucial, obviously, to hockey, as people have talked about. You know, you're putting your hand in a gross, sweaty glove. You're bending your fingers. Guys are slashing you. Definitely not a great place to get an injury. And Jack Hughes, man, 2 months. Hopefully, you know, he recovers as good as possible when we see him back out there. But in the meantime, this Devils club has to buckle down and find ways to bank points. Really up against it now. The depth is truly going to be tested. As many of you we've discussed for weeks or months now, even heading into the season, a lot of us wanted to see the Devils really solidify the center depth and acquire a true third-line center. Most of us wanted to see Cody Glass as 4C. I think Cody Glass would be an amazing 4C. And to be honest, you know, while he was healthy, he was actually pretty damn good as a 3C, to my surprise somewhat. I had hopes for him, but he kind of outperformed my expectations in that third-line center role. I think he would be a more ideal fourth-line center. But now here we are with Glass down and Jack Hughes down. We needed a center before these injuries happened, right? Everyone would agree we needed a center, at least a center before that. And now with both of these guys down, it is a dire need. All eyes on Tom Fitzgerald now. He really has his work cut out for him. And even more unfortunate with this whole need of a center, the whole hockey world knows it. And so it probably puts him in somewhat of a compromised position when it comes to negotiating. But right now, you're talking about a team that is going to have Nico, obviously, as our top line center. Mercer is definitely going to move back to center. And again, shout out to Dawson Mercer, a true Swiss jackknife on this team, does everything. He could play wing, he could play center in times like this. When Glass went down the first time a couple weeks ago, we saw Mercer shifted at center for a few games where he played pretty decent. And so, yeah, again, shout out to Mercer, shorthanded power play, protecting the lead late in the game. The dog is having a career season thus far. Hopefully he keeps it up, and he's going to be playing some center for some time right now, in my opinion. I can't see any other world where he's not, playing that second line center role, at least for a while now, because what do we have? And so now the lineup, in my opinion, is going to look like Nico top line center, Dawson Mercer at 2C. We're going to see Lemico plugged back in, I believe, at 3C, and that leaves Glendening as 4C. This team needs to rally, just completely rally, and they've done it thus far. They've withstood all the injuries we've seen, and they found a way to have a 12-4-1 record at this juncture of the season, which I've talked about time and time again, is nothing short of remarkable. Nothing short of remarkable. Still first in the Metro. 735 points percentage hockey. You love to see it, but now the real test. The franchise player is down. How will they respond? Hopefully we get a center. And it starts tonight in Washington. How is this group going to respond? As I've said again many times, this team with the pretty solid goaltending on most nights and a strong defense, even the depleted version of the defense has been pretty damn good. They're going to have to grind out these 2-1, 3-2 type games. We might even see some 1-0s. Embrace old school New Jersey Devils hockey. Score a goal or two, and then just smash teams into oblivion. We have no other choice. They are going to have to work their asses off for every point, and I still believe in this group. This is not the end of the season. Jack Hughes is not the entire team, as I've said before. He's obviously a huge part of it. The franchise player, our most offensively talented, explosive player, but this is the New Jersey Devils, not the New Jersey Hughes. The boys play for the crest on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back, and the New Jersey Devils will find a way, my friends. They will find a way to stay afloat in the absence of Jack and all of the other guys that are injured, but it sucks. It sucks, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's another horrific blow to this team that already took so many injury blows early on, and for it to happen during a team dinner at a restaurant is even more mind-blowing and diabolical than you could ever write up. But here we are, and so tonight we are going to see how this group responds. Obviously, a lot of the veteran guys are going to have to be talking to the guys throughout the game in the locker room, get everybody ready. I think a guy like Brendan Dillon on a night like tonight will have some inspiring words for these guys, but they have to just continue on without Jack Hughes for 8 weeks. Just absolutely devastating stuff. Hopefully he recovers. Again, hopefully he's doing well mentally. It's a whole lot. But we get to the comments here, and shout out to everybody for coming out. I wish I had better news for this live. It always sucks when I have to jump on here impromptu and talk about a grim topic, and this one certainly is pretty damn grim. Let's be real. Prezify, thank you for the super. Not ideal, but not the worst. We'll still be back for Olympics and playoffs, but we'll have to tread water till we're healthy. Fitz needs to do something. Thank you very much, Prezify. Totally agree. I do think with the month before the playoffs, that will give him plenty of time to still play for Team USA, get back to game speed and all that stuff. But this is just completely just terrible. I mean, just an unprecedented injury. And yeah, the boys are going to have to tread water for sure. As long as they are in a playoff spot down the stretch, once they get in, if they're close to healthy, I do believe this team could do damage. I really do. But they're going to have to step up. You know, guys like Grits, maybe they're going to have to start, scoring a little bit more. Obviously, Gritsuk has been a great story on the season thus far. Mercer's going to have to continue to play well. Maybe Bratter and Nico wake up a little bit offensively. Maybe we get some more bottom six contributions, whether that's going to be, guys like Cotter, Palat, whoever it is. This is going to have to be a true team approach, and everyone's going to have to work their asses off to get it done. We're going to have to get goals from unexpected places at unexpected times. Maybe, our guy Brendan Dillon will start filling the back of the net again. We saw Dilly a couple weeks back with back-to-back games with the game-winning goal. But wow. But thank you, Prezify. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this is some real adversity early on in the season. Y'all are soft. This is happening every year at Jack. He's never going to play a full season in his career. He can't even be okay at a team dinner. But like, what do you want him to do? This is where I have to take some of you people to task. Like, it's not like it wasn't even an injury during a game. Like, this is some really fluke stuff that could have happened to everyone. And I understand people are going to feel some type of way about it because it's Jack. But like, how are you going to blame the kid for this? It just sucks. Do you think he wants to miss 2 months? This is probably killing him. I'm sure he's crying his eyes out right now, or at least was when he first heard the news. It's really unfortunate, but I can't subscribe to some of the notions people are saying here. Zach, if we don't trade for center depth before the end of November, that would tell me Fitz is punting the season again. So Zach, obviously I wanted to see a center in the summer. And then obviously as the season went on, we've all been saying we need a center. Everyone talking about Ryan O'Reilly right now. I would love to see him here. I think when we're fully healthy, Ryan O'Reilly as a third line center would be just a beautiful luxury to have. Don't want to overpay for any player, but if it's future pieces, I probably would be okay with overpaying for Ryan O'Reilly because I do think he is the type of guy you would love to have for a legitimate cup run. In terms of the timeline of your trade, Zach, I can't say I agree with that because this could be a potential wait and see sort of approach for Fitz before he pulls the trigger on a trade. If this team is able to still win games and not look like a complete disaster, he might wait a little bit and kind of feel out the market or test other teams for what guys might be available. But I do not think if the trade is not made immediately that signifies a punt. Now, obviously, if there's nothing done at any point in time, then I would agree with you. But I think, only 2 weeks left in November. I think that's a little premature, Zach, but I totally understand the worry. I'm hoping that we do see the center brought in, and O'Reilly would be a great one. And I'm sure there's tons of other guys around the league that may be getting shopped. That'd be great fits as well. But, I think we're going to have to wait and see a few games of how this team responds. But obviously, having Mercer come off the wing to play center and then Lamico at 3C and Glendening at 4C is not ideal if we're being honest here. Yeah, a lot of crazy comments in the chats. I understand the disappointment, but Vic says we won't see him till the freaking New Year. Nope, a couple weeks after that ball drops. Zach, I'll try to be optimistic and say this could be a blessing in disguise. If we trade for some solid assets, we could be fortified for the postseason, provided, of course, we even make it that far. They're going to make the playoffs. I fully believe that this team is not in any jeopardy of missing the playoffs. I do think they make the playoffs for sure. And again, that's a testament to the defense and goaltending mostly, because I do think this team is capable of winning these 2-1, 3-2 games, and we might even see a 1-0 here and there. I do think this team is made up of guys that are capable of doing that, but you can't even keep track of the injuries anymore. It's just something new every day, and it's unfortunate, but the defensive depth has come in huge, obviously. For the whole right side to be out and for guys like Chalowski and White to step in, two guys that were scheduled to be in the AHL, and they're a third pairing that have been playing serviceably. They haven't been totally exposed. They've had some stretch some rough stretches in games here and there, but overall, it's not like they're this complete liability disaster pairing. And credit to them and credit to Fitz for realizing we need tons of defensemen to be a good team, because at this point, it really does seem like we will never have a completely healthy roster. I just can't see it. There's just too many injuries all at once for all of them to be healthy at once. It's just a statistical improbability. Steven, how are we even first in the East if injuries always plague us? Well, again, a testament to this team and what they've been able to do thus far, despite the injuries. But now they've been dealt the big one. The franchise player is out for 2 months. Obviously, a marquee center, a position that we already needed more depth with. And now to have him go out, it's going to be a real test. The real thick adversity now is coming November 15th. We are going to see what this New Jersey Devils club is made of, and it starts tonight in DC. John NJ I'm sick every year. It's something with this kid. Can't he just be healthy like Bratman every year? If only it was that easy. Nick says, we are cooked. Prime year is being wasted because we can't stay healthy. Curse is real. We are done. I mean, the curse is real, but I don't think they're done, Nick. Let's just calm down and see how the boys respond in his absence. I mean, coming back in 2 months from now still gives almost 3 months of the regular season leading up to the playoffs. We got to see how this team responds, but I definitely don't think they're cooked. They still have plenty of good players that can carry the load. But again, this is where all eyes on Bratter, Nico, Timo, Gritz, Mercer. The top 6 are really going to have to step it up, and all the depth guys are going to have to step up as well. Nason, Cotter, Palat. Everyone's going to have to do their part, and we're going to have to see this team really come together and gut out some wins, because they really have their work cut out for them, with all these injuries. Max, that Palat sacrifice to the Native American gods is sounding really good right now, huh? I mean, they need something. They certainly need something, because this is just, it's a dark day. Jack Hughes getting surgery. For those just tuning in, surgery on his hand or finger, out for 2 months. Prayers up for Jack Hughes. It is just tough. Pro Bolt, he will come back stronger than ever. I have faith in the guy. I hope so. I really hope so. It does have shades of a reoccurring nightmare. But yeah, it really just really sucks. The man from Jersey, guys, this sucks big ones, but this team has already overcome so much adversity this season, and we're one of the best teams in the league. It won't be easy, but we need a next man up approach. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been saying all along. Despite all the injuries I've already suffered, still first in the conference. Obviously, it's going to be much harder to maintain that as time goes on with all these injuries and Jack Hughes out. And hopefully we don't sustain any more injuries for quite some time. But if we're being real, it seems as though the Grim Reaper is kind of following us around. And it only seems like a matter of time before another injury happens. But this is where next man up, depth matters. And tonight, some guys are going to get their chance. Nathan Legary back up. Welcome back to the show, kid. Let's see what you have. I always liked Legary. Didn't see a ton of him last year. Always thought he had a decent potential as a fourth line guy. Plays a little grittier of a game. And obviously the guy Shane LaChance that I've been rooting for quite some time. It's unfortunate that his big break is coming in the wake of all of these injuries and Jack and all these things. But Shane LaChance, a big kid, tough as nails, does all the small things, goes to the corners, will smash guys, will fight. He has ridiculously good hands, can finish around the net, a menace in front of the net. I'm very excited to see what Shane LaChance does in this game tonight and going forward. I mean, with all these injuries, there's a chance that some of these guys, if they can play their way onto the roster for good, that is the only, and I hate to even talk about these things, but a slight sliver of a silver lining in a season that has seen half the team get crushed with injuries, is that this is going to be an opportunity for guys to make a name for themselves and stick around. And I think Shane LaChance could be a great bottom 6 player for this team. And I was thinking about it last night when McEwen comes back, which again, we have no idea when that is. Shout out to McEwen. Loved his game too. It just sucks for him. Him and LaChance on a fourth line, I think could be lethal. Just massive size. And if another center is brought in, when healthy, if we had Nico, Jack, a third line center, like just for this example, Ryan O'Reilly, then you push Glass down to 4C, a line of Glass, McEwen, and LaChance, I think has potential. we could really get an identity fourth line that could really wreak some havoc on other teams. But LaChance is getting his chance tonight. Rooting for the kid. I've been rooting for him for a while. Let's see what he could do. Zach, definitely drinking myself into a coma tonight. Maybe I'll regain consciousness in late January just in time for Jack's return. Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. Mike Ruff, this is the best news possible. If it was his hand, he'd be toast. Got to take the smallest victories while victories. Wish they said it was a finger. Max says, LaChance power play 1 net front. Want to see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't mind it. I mean, it is very interesting to think about now with Jack out. What will power play 1 look like? I mean, if I had to guess, I would go, I don't know, Nico, Timo, Brat. And maybe this is a chance for Grits on power play 1. But yeah, I think you're definitely going to see Nico, Timo, Brat, and then either Grits or potentially Dawson Mercer with Luke Hughes at the quarterback spot, or maybe even Nemitz, right? A lot of people have been talking about they want Shimo Nemitz to get a chance on power play 1. We've seen him get some power play 2 time. I don't know that the coaching staff will give Nemo the nod over Luke on power play 1, but I'd be curious to see it. I'm all about the experimenting, as you guys know, and especially now in this world with all these injuries, I'm all about trying things out and see how they work. But it will be interesting to see tonight for sure what the power play units look like. But I fully expect Nemo at a minimum will be on power play 2. And the forward groups, we have a lot of different options here, even with the injuries. And so that'll be something to keep an eye on during the game tonight for sure. Pro Bowl says, LaChance, now it's your time to shine. It certainly is. Isaiah, Luke has to step it up, 43-43. Yeah, it would be nice to see Luke start burying some goals too. He's had a little bit of a slow start in terms of goals, obviously. Still looking for his first, has a bunch of nice assists, but would be great to see Luke kind of recapture some of that magic we've seen from him over the years. Pro Bowl says Nico needs to step it up. Everyone needs to step it up. Tasha, this is so bad. I just had my life-changing Italian hot dog. I'll join when I get home. Enjoy that Italian hot dog. Michael says another wasted season. I don't think so, Michael. This team has battled through adversity thus far. Obviously, this is going to be the biggest challenge yet. But first place in the East right now, despite all of these crazy injuries that we've already seen, a little over a month into the season, they've battled and they've shown their compete. I'm not giving up on this team whatsoever. You got to just do what you can and really play these tough, low-scoring affairs, I think, is going to be the recipe for this team for a while until we can get some guys back. Justin says, time for the goalies and the rest of the team to step up. I completely agree with you there. Max, that's why we banked points. We will have 3 full months to catch up if we need to. Yeah, that's the thing. Even without Jack for 2 months, that still leaves 3 months of season before the playoffs. It's plenty of time. They just can't completely bottom out right now. They just kind of have to tread water. And I do think with the group we have, they're capable of doing better than that. I still think they could, be above 500 for however long, mostly due to the strength of the defense and goaltending. Those are 2 crucial elements of a team. And I do like even the depleted version of our defense and our goaltending. We're going to have to rely on them heavily for however long we're without all these guys. I mean, wow, Glass coming back is going to be huge whenever that is. Crystal says we have the worst luck. I know injuries happen to all teams if this is excessive now. Yeah, it really is. It's unfortunate. It's just, the curse is real. Paul says sucks, but thought it was worse. Fitz cannot sit on his hands now. Yeah, a lot of us are going to be looking for a deal or deals to be made, and it's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, I can't even keep track of the cap space now with guys on LTIR, who's not on LTIR. It's just completely crazy. My phone's been blowing up for the past couple hours, or not even, past hour or so. Let me see. This Puckpedia projected cap. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to be doing some cap tricks for sure. Y'all are soft. The bank points are fine, but even with all points banked, Rags and Islanders aren't even that far off of them. Yeah, the East is super tight. The East is super tight. Mike says, rough news for you guys. Injury bugs hitting a lot of teams early on. Yeah, it seems like you are a Hurricanes fan. And I heard Jarvis just got hurt. I mean, yeah, the injuries around the league are crazy, but I don't know how many other teams had their franchise player hurt in an off-ice activity on a night there wasn't a game. Injured at a restaurant. I mean, this is a new low, even for the Devils, who have been decimated by injuries for the past few seasons. Pro Bowl says Tom Fitzgerald needs to go, though. If he doesn't go looking for another center, he needs to go. I'm pretty sure he is going to be looking for a center. I mean, it's pretty obvious that the team could have used one prior to this, and now they certainly could use one. Off them Devils, Fitz got to make a move to replace Hughes for the near future. Yeah, I would like to see it sooner than later, but now, like I said earlier, the entire world knows the position that he's in, and I'm sure they're going to be trying to take advantage. Now, you know, I personally would be I'd be okay with overpaying for certain guys if it's, you know, future pieces. You guys know this is a true win now window for this club. I'm trading all first round picks for the foreseeable future, but we'll see. Derek says, I was about to pull the trigger on pre-ordering a Jack Hughes set 1. Thank goodness I didn't commit. It's funny you mentioned that, Derek. I was thinking about the same. Derek's referring to game-worn jersey. And it would, you know, it's unfortunate. I would never want a half a set like this either, Derek, or not even, maybe not even half a set. I thought about it as well, but certainly going to hold off now. Joey Fivehole says, I feel for Jack and hope he's okay. Bungie Morris, it sucks, but 8 weeks is better than the 3 to 5 months people were dooming about on Reddit. Yeah, Reddit's I mean, listen, the internet at large is a special place. Everybody just overreacting and kind of automatically going to worst case scenario, I believe, in a lot of cases. But I get it. Devils fans at large, and especially when talking about Jack Hughes, have a bit of PTSD. We've been down this road before, all too frequently. And here we are again in a crazy fluke injury that had nothing to do with the game of hockey. Going to be without 86 for 2 months. It really sucks. It really, really sucks. John njdevils says, I can't sleep. Trevor, I have no words. I've never seen a team have so many injuries over such a long period of time. I completely agree. It's pretty wild. Devils Mets fan, Jack was probably drunk when this happened. He screwed the entire team, franchise, and fans. I am pissed off at Jack. I mean, where are you getting this from? This is another thing. Like, people keep running with these narratives. I don't even think most of these guys drink like that. And so for you guys to make these random accusations that Jack was drunk and he screwed the team, like, it's completely unfair and ridiculous. You know, if it came out that was the story, or there was a video of it and that was the case, then I would say, you know, you did it to yourself and you kind of get what you deserve. That's not the case here. I don't think that is the case. Obviously, there's a small percentage chance that it is something like that, but I would say a super small percentage, and I don't think that's the case. And so for people to run with these narratives, it's super unfortunate, and I'm sure he sees some of this stuff. On top of having to deal with not playing for 2 months and being upset about that, then he has to see people make wild allegations that are probably false. Doesn't help the situation at all, guys. I mean, let's be real. Morning Estrella, oh my God, I just logged on 8 weeks to the hand. Jack must hate this. For sure. For sure. All right, I fell behind again. I'm going to try to skip up a little bit here. Michael says, this is definitely Fitz's fault. Fitz, the trainers and nutritionists, could have easily prevented this. Yeah. Michael making a joke about, you know, all the people that blame the trainers and medical staff and call for their heads and this and that after every injury. Obviously, there's nothing that could have been done for this to happen, to prevent it from happening. And for anyone who continues to blame medical staff, it's just foolish. Robbie's bench toss says, the only silver lining is not season ending, but my Lord, this blows. Yeah, I at some point last night was really just thinking that it could have been the worst. I mean, and then I was reading some other things about, you know, because we didn't know the details of how it all happened and all that, right? So my brain was going to worst case scenario is like career ending type of thing, which would have been highly unlikely, but it's not impossible. I have read things where people, you know, have suffered different cuts where ligaments, tendons, whatever it is, where they never regain like grip of their hand. You know, in the worst possible scenario, it could have been like a career ending type thing. I didn't think it was going to be that. And I did think it was going to be something along the lines of what we're seeing here, a few months, 2 to 3 months. But his season's not over, and neither is the season for the New Jersey Devils, guys. Ted says the culture. I don't know what that means. Bungie, is that a Quick Check cup? Yes, it is. Today's bad news brought to you by Quick Check. Love their iced coffee. Beautiful coffee bar they have there. And I get it almost every day. Very good. Rip Roger Smokey Johnson says, hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, it certainly feels like it. Army, think we should be looking to trade for a center immediately. I doubt this will this will be the last of our injury woes, and Dawson playing center isn't great. Yeah, he's going to have to fill in for now. He's that Swiss jackknife, folks. And that's another reason why you got to really tip your cap to a guy like Dawson Mercer. Aside from the production that he's been giving this team all season long, really relishing in that top 6 role on most nights. Obviously, he shifted down to the third line to play center a couple games, a couple weeks ago. You could kind of slot him anywhere, and he's gonna produce. Hopefully, he does okay in the faceoff circle tonight. That'll be a thing to keep an eye on. But this team is gonna have to get it done by committee. Everyone's gonna have to pick up some slack here and get to work. Mr. Coconuts, this is a fluke yet even before he is so. Oh, come on, guys. Y'all are soft. Fitzgerald's son is posting here trying to prove to me that he's not a clown GM. How is this Fitz's fault, though? I've had plenty of criticisms of Tom Fitzgerald over the years. Plenty of them, and many of you know some of them. However, when I see I try to be as fair as possible. When people make ridiculous statements and say things about Fitz that are wild, I have to defend the guy. And for people to blame this shit on Tom Fitzgerald is just juvenile and borderline. It's just insane. How are you going to blame Tom Fitzgerald for this, guys? Do you think he's happy about this? Do you think he wants to get the news that his franchise player went down at a team dinner with some sort of cut on his hand from some freak accident? I'm sure he's completely devastated right now as well. Max says, need to see Fitz make a move shortly here, especially if things start to go south quick. And again, I talked about this a couple minutes ago. I think it is going to be one of these kind of wait and see things, right? I think obviously if the team starts to free fall, there'll be more of an urgency. If the team kind of does okay and doesn't look disastrous, he might wait a little bit. Again, he's in a compromised position now. The entire hockey world knows that he needs a center, and they're going to be looking to rip him off. Fitz doesn't like making rip-off deals. Michael says Jack's offseason training is also to blame. Absolutely. If he hit those bench presses a little bit harder, his hand strength would have been built up more, and then the glass wouldn't have cut through his hand. It's just crazy. People really believe that stuff. Ryan, I swear Devils fans need to turn him into Bubble Boy outside the game. Don't let him even touch his skates. Oh, boy. Rip Rogers, Smokey Johnson, Nico, our captain. We need him to go beast mode and put the team on his back. He has in the past when Jack goes down. Yeah. Nico, the heart and soul of the club, is going to have to step up even more now in the absence of Jack Hughes. And it seems like he's been maybe dealing with a small injury or something. I don't know. He hasn't looked 100%. A lot of people have been kind of speculating what's going on with him. I think a guy like him that plays so hard, he's always kind of always got something kind of lingering. But in terms of his offensive production, you guys have to remember he's also assigned with shutting down the best line on the other team. And so when he's so focused on that complete game and being that defensive shutdown guy, a lot of times that's going to come at the cost of his personal offensive production because he's more focused on, shutting down the McDavids, the Matthews, the Kaprizovs of the world, and letting the other guys on the Devils score the goals while he shuts down the other team. So that's a part of it as well. I'm not worried about his offense. We all know that Nico can produce. Pro Bolt, he needs to get Blake Coleman or Ryan O'Reilly here in any way he can. The thought of Coleman I thought was interesting, but in the end, Coleman's a winger, and we desperately need a center. And so I don't think Coleman – and again, guys, you got to keep in mind, we live in a cap world. You can't just go trade for all these guys and make it magically work. They have to fit under the cap. And I do think that there's only going to be really one big bullet, in my opinion, for the Devils. Only one kind of bigger name guy making any sort of real money. And it's going to have to be a center, and I think O'Reilly would be a great fit. But supposedly Barry Trotz has been pretty difficult to deal with over the years and really wants a whole lot in return for his players. I would suspect this would be the same. And you have to remember there's going to be tons of, contending hopeful teams that would love to add a guy like Ryan O'Reilly as a piece for their run. And the bidding could get pretty expensive, I think. He's signed for this season and next season at $4.5 million, pretty good contract for this year and next. Teams are going to be bidding. Teams will certainly be bidding. Y'all are soft as glass even playing. No, he is not. Probolt says, instead of Quinn, we need Tage Thompson. Totally separate topic. I would love Tage Thompson. Would be super high on my want list league-wide. But I do think that is a pipe dream. I just can't see that being remotely realistic. I would love to see it, but I just can't see it. Carson, 8 weeks. Yep, 8 weeks. 8 weeks. The unlucky Devils continue to get unlucky. In an off-ice incident, Jack Hughes requires surgery on his hand or finger, whatever it is. 8 weeks. Y'all are soft. Is this about taking care of oneself, or is it possibly acting like a fool at a team dinner? Again, lots of assumptions. And you know what my grandmother said, when you assume, you make an ASS out of you and me. The assumptions are crazy. Next, we're going to hear, Jack was juggling knives in the restaurant. I mean, people have come up with all sorts of wild theories. I don't think we ever get the real story. And in the end, what does it even matter? The reality is this kid is out for 2 months, and it sucks. The latest blow to the Devils, who have been decimated by injuries already on the young season, and we got another one in the off-ice realm. Brandon says, what actually happened? We don't know. Jack Hughes was at a team dinner 2 nights ago, suffered a freak accident, cut to his hand from a glass of some kind, required surgery, and he will be out for 2 months. That is all we know at this time. Robbie's bench toss, the center market was already limited. Forget us getting an external replacement, guys. I can't say I agree with that, Robbie. Obviously, it's not going to be super easy to go out there and pick up a center, but I don't think it's an impossibility. There certainly will be guys available. The question is, can we fit them under the cap? Can Fitz find a deal that he feels comfortable with in terms of what pieces he needs to trade out? But I definitely think there are guys that could fit the bill. Robbie's bench toss just got to buckle down and survive 8 weeks. Yeah. Obviously, with all these other injuries, though, it could be a lot. I'm hoping it's not. Again, I do believe in the defense, the goaltending. I think they could grind out low-scoring affairs, but help sooner than later would be nice. And obviously now it's even more crucial to get Cody Glass back, because he was missed even when Jack was playing. And now with Jack out, it's pretty wild. Vic says, Bratt, Nico, Meyer, top line. I think so. Curious to see what the lines will be. I do think they'll keep those guys together again. But then when you have the next wave of, Mercer and Grits, I would like to see them keep Mercer and Grits together and see them to continue to build chemistry. They both obviously played with Jack in the last game. Time for guys to step up. Someone else is going to get a golden opportunity in that top 6. You're definitely going to see, maybe not necessarily in these same line configurations, but Bratt, Nico, Timo, and then Grits, Mercer, and then another guy to fill out that top 6. Could it be Nason again? Could it be a guy like Cotter? Who knows? We're going to find out in about 5 hours from now. Dave Pieces call up the Hanson brothers. Jay Snow says, I love Jack. I'm convinced I'll never play 82. I hope not, man. I really thought this was going to be the year. And never in my wildest dreams or nightmares ever could have predicted that we would lose him once again in an incident like this. I mean, it really just is it's wild and it sucks. And you could, there's not enough adjectives to talk about it. But in the end, the season is not over. Like I said, the crest on the front, not the name on the back. The New Jersey Devils, not the New Jersey Hughes. And hopefully these boys continue to rally and bank points and win games with whoever's in the lineup. Got to win with whoever's in the lineup. And it's going to be a true test of the depth all around. Pro Bowl, rather see him be injured now than at the end of the season. He will come back stronger. I believe in him. I hope so. I really hope so. John Faces, that puts him out until January 10th. He's going to be missing at least 27 to 30 games. Yeah, 2 months of a season is a good amount. Codes X says, bring back the trap. Max says Hallinan should be there too. Like Hallinan as well. I forget if there's something with his waiver situation that could provide, put a little bit of an obstacle in terms of moving him back and forth easily. But I do think we're only a few injuries away from seeing the return of the new Utica Devils. Obviously, that was the kind of thing I jokingly said last year. We had so many Utica Comets players up playing with the Devils because of all the injuries. I called them the new Utica Devils, and we're a couple injuries away from being back there. Again, hopefully, we don't know what's going on with McEwen. It's probably going to be a while. Hopefully, Glass is close to a return, but they just have to survive. And it sucks, but this team has shown they can overcome adversity. This is the biggest test yet. How does this team fare without Jack Hughes? And we're going to see the first chapter of it tonight with a big one against a division rival in DC against the Caps. Y'all are soft, says Islanders. will pass them in the standings real quick here. I don't know about all that. It's obviously possible. The standings are pretty tight. Despite the Devils' hot start, it is crazy to see. Well, I guess I'll pull this up first. My computer doesn't want to. Oh, I should mention here while I'm clipping this graphic, for the longtime fans, I just did an interview with Stan the Maven Fischler from my friends, an absolute legend of the game. I'll put the link in the description in a minute. Had a great conversation with Stan. That is premiering on the channel tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. My conversation with Stan the Maven Fischler. Guy has been everywhere in hockey, has done everything. Just an absolute icon. And that interview will air tomorrow at 6 p.m. I just put the link in the description there. I'll be in the chat. Hope to see some of you guys there as well. What a great time I had talking to Stan Fischler. Unbelievable stuff. All right, so we look at the standings here, guys. And yeah, it's tight. Our beloved New Jersey Devils sitting on the top of the pack, 12-4-1 with 25 points, a 735 points percentage. Canes are right on our heels. They're 12-5. And then you see the Canadians. I don't know what happened to that number there, but the Canadians are 22 points. The Pens are 22. The Islanders are 22. It's tight. And you look in terms of the Metro, Devils 25. You got the Canes right there, 24. The Penguins having a resurgent year. The Islanders are just a franchise almost reborn with the excitement of the #1 overall pick and defensive 18-year-old phenom Matthew Schaefer just exceeding all expectations, and he's going to run away with the Calder. My Gritsuk bet for Calder never had a chance. That thing's Matthew Schaefer's, barring injury. Lock it up. Schaefer will win Rookie of the Year. And then even the Flyers, 21 points. The Rangers, 20. And so for everyone that bashed the Metro, it could end up being a pretty decent division. So, to most people's surprise. To most people's surprise, the Metro, don't sleep on them. They have some good teams here. Max says Bedard definitely sabotaged the glass because Hughes outdid him. Game shorts for you. Exactly why the Devils will never win the cup. All the talent is there, but their goalies sell. Hurricanes and injuries always stay in the way. Same old story season after season. Well, that's fairly negative, sir. That is pretty negative, and I certainly could not disagree more. This is a injury to one guy for 2 months. Yes, we've been decimated with injuries, but they're still in first place in the East. It would be one thing if we were in last place right now and then this happened and it was like, okay, we're already in a huge hole and now we're without Jack. Season's over. Even though I would still hold out hope that they could come back. That would make a lot more sense to me. It would be a lot more logical for you people to have some of these views if we were in a huge hole and then lost Jack. That is not the case. It is the exact opposite. We are sitting on top of the world right now. Numero uno in the East. And you people are like, oh, season's over. I mean, I just can't understand the negativity. I'm the Bogue says, get the loser beverages ready, boys. I don't want loser beverages. I want victory drinks. John says, we'll have to find a way to collect points. Feel like this week had the most emergency sessions in Running with the Devils history. Unfortunately, I think you're right. I do think you're right. Spirit in the Sky says, Ace, get real. I don't know what that was in reference to. All right, I'm super far behind now. So let me skim a little bit. Armies is ordering a New Jersey, number 66, doomed. Yeah, it's pretty. All right, I'm catching up here, guys. Apologies. I went on a Robbie's bench toss. He's probably dead. Doomers everywhere. Yeah, it's Chris Ladd says they need to go after Tage Thompson. He could play center and wing. Again, I talked about him before. I do think that is a total kind of pipe dream acquisition. He would be super high on my list for sure, obviously. Big, skilled guy with a little grit to him. I thought for a while he would be nearly a perfect winger to play with Jack and Bratt. But he would I just can't even fathom what the ask would be for Buffalo for him. I think it would be astronomical, and I do not think there's any planet where the Devils could get him in a trade without gutting their roster. Like, you're going to have to give up tons of pieces, and I like our roster for the most part. I do think they could benefit from a couple little tweaks, but if you're talking about Buffalo, Buffalo for Tage Thompson, they're going to want marquee players. They're going to ask for everybody. And so I think for that reason alone, it would be a no-go. Jay Snow says it's going to be a long-ass time to come back, longer than what they always say. I hope not. I hope it is only the 8 weeks. Oh, RME says, without Jack, we're going to see a lot of 1 and 2 goal games. I completely agree, but I think we're built to do that. Let the big guns get a goal or two, and then we got to clamp down. We need solid goaltending, obviously. Goaltending needs to step up. I don't think they said who's going to start today yet. We'll probably find that out in a couple hours. Oh, yeah, X is in full meltdown right now. I have like 7 million notifications. I might have to stay off there for a while because the negativity is running wild. But low-scoring affairs, old school New Jersey Devils hockey. Win these 2-1, 1-0 games. Let's go. Let's go, boys. I am the Bogue says, when is Connor Brown coming back? Your guess is as good as mine. One of the weirder ones I've seen in a while, obviously, but I'm now just almost expecting, the reports and whatever. The Devils are obviously very vague, as many teams are with these injuries, and we didn't even know Connor Brown got hurt during the game he got hurt. He was missing from practice a day or the next day or 2 days later, and then they were like, "Oh, he's a game time decision," and here we are, like a week and a half later, without him. Hopefully, he comes back soon. We desperately could use anyone. Obviously, Connor Brown coming back would be huge. Glass coming back would be huge. Brett Pesce, rumors were that was going to be closer to Christmas. Kovacevic in the new year. And so it might just be one of these things where we have to buckle down, survive the rest of 2025. And then when the calendar hits 2026, we see maybe Kovacevic come back, Pesce, a couple weeks into 2026, Jack Hughes. Hopefully before then, we see McEwen and Glass come back. Connor Brown obviously should be one of the first ones back, I think. But they're going to have to survive. A lot of craziness in the chat here. I always forget about the Donov. Thank you, Artie. Yeah, I don't know what the deal with him is. He'll be back at some point. I don't really know what to expect from him. Hopefully he can contribute. But another body out. I always forget about him. Trevor says, if I'm the GM, I'm going and getting a player like Ryan O'Reilly. Then when Jack gets back, we roll. Yeah, it'd be great, but easier said than done. What are you giving Barry Trotz and the Nashville Predators for him without taking huge pieces out of the lineup? Again, I'm all about futures. Trade prospects, trade picks, whatever it is. Try to get him without taking anything substantial away from the roster. Then I'm all about it. Robbie's bench toss says, we'll make the playoffs, but kiss home ice goodbye, which really matters when we inevitably have to face Carolina. And I still can't even get there yet. I still believe that the ceiling for this team, when close to health, I've given up on full health, but close to full health, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, guys. With the injuries, we're still in first place. It's not like we're in first place after 2 games. We're 5 weeks into the season, still in first place. I do think the team can sustain a decent level of play, even with some injuries, but the real test is going to be without Jack, obviously. Jack is the most explosive player on this team, and we're obviously much better with him than without. But I would say I don't necessarily agree that home ice is kissed goodbye. I don't. I still think there's a chance this team could have home ice. Robbie's bench toss says we'll have to improve on the road from our early start, that's for sure. If it's a bad injury, 8 weeks of hockey missed is no joke. Why are you downplaying this? No one's downplaying it, but it's not the end of the world. It obviously sucks, but there's other players on this team that are going to have to pick up the slack, and the season's not over. I'm not downplaying it at all. 2 months missed is awful. It sucks. It sucks for everyone involved. It sucks for Fitz. It sucks for Keith. It sucks for Jack, his family, the fans, his teammates. It sucks for everyone. I'm not downplaying it at all. But I'm also not going to say the season's over. I mean, that's ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And the people echoing these thoughts, then don't root for the Devils. Go find another team. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Zach, definitely need Brown and Dodonov to come back ASAP. Those two combined can make up for the absence of Jack until he returns. Still want a solid 3C, though. I much prefer Glass at 4C. Completely agree with you there. All right, we got to skip ahead here. Jordan says, feel bad the kid has had only one full season, right? Yeah, it was one of the COVID years. He played the whole season, which was not 82 games. It was a shortened season, but he did play that entire year. Jace, no, there is no next man up for Jack. Absolutely not. In terms of replacing who he is to the team and his production. But in terms of a position spot, there is a next man up for everyone who's ever played in the history of the league. Your spot is empty. Someone is going to assume that spot. And hopefully this team could do it by committee. No one guy is going to replace his production, but this team has to find a way to scrape goals and scrape wins. Behind the boxes, we have no depth left. It's getting pretty low. It's certainly getting low. John NJDevils says, can't wait to see LaChance throw down. I can't wait to see LaChance, period. I've been excited about him for a while. I think he's going to bring that energy to whatever line he plays on. He's going to bring some of that physicality. And here and there, you're going to see a little bit of his offensive prowess as well. Michael says we still have some depth left. Still have Casey and Haminaho and Utica. RME says Haminaho isn't close to ready for NHL games. Hard to get a true read on that. Obviously, everyone in Utica has struggled, and a lot of people were citing that, or the stats anyway, through the beginning of the season as reasons why they didn't want to see LaChance. But like I've said before, I've already seen enough at the NHL level where I am not going to put that much stock into his stats in the AHL. And this goes with goalies too. A lot of times people are like, oh, his AHL stats suck. And then that goalie comes and plays in front of or plays behind a decent NHL team and they do much better. We've even seen that with Nico Dawes. And so I am not writing anybody off. I'm all about, again, experimenting. If there's a potential audition for a guy like LaChance, which we're going to see tonight, or a Haminaho, then you wait and see how it plays out. But I do think LaChance is going to be an asset for this team, and especially with all these injuries right now, we could definitely use a guy like him. Joey Boy says, just need full health and time for round one. April still a ways off. Plenty of recent cup winners have had massive regular season injuries to core players. We will survive, folks. Go Devs. Love the positivity, Joey. I completely agree. And again, we're in first place right now. It's not as if we are in last and we need to dig out of a hole with all these injuries. That is not the case. We're at the top right now. The Newfie Hammer, the new crash line. Oh, man. Obviously, you guys know I love the crash line. And anything that remotely resembles them in today's game, I would be all about. And I think we have the personnel to make something reminiscent of it. There'll never be another crash line, but can we make a Diet Coke version? I think so. All right, scrolling again. I'm Jonathan G. Yeah, people have blamed the training staff. Obviously, it's just ridiculous. Alex says, there goes the 100-point season for Jack. Someone else wants an attempt. Yeah, Bratter. Selected boy, it's gone on 8 weeks. It's brutal. When it rains, it pours. And by pours, I mean monsoon season. Complete monsoon season, and the boys just got to fight through it. A lot of negativity in the comments, man. A lot of negativity. Ryan says, Ryan O'Reilly, Coleman, Kadri, Shen, or Tage. I know 3 of those players have term at about $5 million season. All or at least could be a second-line center. Yeah, and again, for the people that think the Devils are just going to go out on a shopping spree and obtain all kinds of players, I mean, it's just not realistic. I do think they could potentially make one kind of substantial move. And who will it be? I'm always about exploring every possible guy out there, what it's going to take to get them here and make the best decision for the club. I would think because of age, contract, everything, position, O'Reilly seems to be the most logical for me in terms of, feasibility and it making sense for the Devils to do it. Kadri, I would like Kadri too. He's got that dog in him, but his contract and the remaining years is slightly worrisome to me. Not necessarily a deterrent, but it is a little more worrisome than taking on a guy like O'Reilly at the 4.5 million in only the 2 years. Kadri's got some years left at like 7 million. But all these guys would be good fits, but it's got to be a center now. Got to be a center. Ryan says maybe the Devils should have kept Haula. I mean, that's easy to say now with hindsight. But that would have prevented other moves as well. The Devils were in a cap crunch as it is. When healthy, they had to free up money for Kovacevic. Now I have to go back and look with all these other guys hurt, how that's going to change the cap space situation. But you know, Haula, someone had to go, and Haula was the most logical one for Fitz at the time. I'm not going to, you know, sit here now and be like, oh, you know, Fitz messed up there, because no one was saying that when it happened. Let's be real. So to do like revisionist history, I think is unfair. Obviously, in this, you know, hindsight situation, would it be nice to have Haula right now? Sure. But, you know, that had to be done for all the other moves to take place, including signing Luke Hughes. Just scrolling through all these dooming comments. There's so many. Joey Boy says quick check over Wawa. I like them both, but the quick check coffee bar is substantial. Wawa's is pre-made, I believe, and has a ton of sugar in it, where quick check has the beautiful coffee bar with all the creamers and milkers, and you make it yourself. It's beautiful. When I make the iced coffee, it's like a science experiment. I'm mixing flavors. I'm mixing creamers. It's a whole experience. Michael says, I will say quick check breakfast sandwiches and coffee I take over Wawa. The breakfast sandwiches are phenomenal. I wouldn't have ever known if a friend didn't put me on. And listen, guys, this is the best deal in the game. You could get any size coffee, hot or cold. I happen to get the huge iced. But iced coffee and a breakfast sandwich cost me $5.31 after tax. I get it. The deal is any breakfast sandwich you buy, and then you get any coffee for $1. Sausage, egg, and cheese on a muffin, English muffin, $3.99 plus 99 cents worth of coffee plus tax. I'm walking out with this massive jug of iced coffee and a nice sausage, egg, and cheese on an English muffin for $5.31 in 2025 in this economy. Sign me up. But yeah, shout out to Quick Check. Obviously, Michael, this could be permanent damage to his finger. I hope not. And if it is, I hope that it would be something where maybe it's nothing that restricts his range of motion or anything that hampers him from playing. It's possible. Maybe I think that he loses like some sensation there, maybe, but it won't affect his game. Again, these are all just speculations and conjectures and things that we have no idea about, and everyone just continues to try to, you know, put the story together. Maybe at some point we will get more clarity, but in the end, it doesn't even matter now. The reality is this team needs to buckle down and win games without Jack Hughes for 2 months, and that's where we're at. Tasha, Italian hot dog was so good, I'll be back. Jimmy Buffs is an institution. Anyone who has an Italian hot dog needs to go up and get one. What did you put on it, Tasha? I'm really been trying to eat healthy this week. But tomorrow might be a cheat day, and I might have to go to Buffs. Dubs' like says the team is screwed, and now Fitz is going to go out and get absolutely ripped off on a center because other GMs will be salivating at this. This is no one's fault, a freak thing. It just sucks. Yeah, I talked about that before. But he's not going to make a deal if it's a ripoff. So Fitz will stand his ground. We will see how it all goes. True Patriot says, can they try and find a replacement piece here? Well, there's not going to be a direct replacement, obviously. No one is replacing Jack Hughes. But can they get a center that could kind of help hold down the fort? Absolutely. So we will see. All eyes on Fitz now. What does Fitz do? A team that, you know, needed a center before this happened. Needed a center before Glass got hurt, and now Jack. Joey Boy says, I'm a certified quick check zealot, so I'm all in on quick check over Wawa in every way. That's just me, though. I think they both have their, they both have their place for different things. But if I had to pick one, I'm probably going quick check as well. But I do enjoy both. NJDevils UK, Jack needs to temper his expectations for the next contract because you can't be paying the guy the big bucks when he is incapable of playing a full season. Well, that's an issue for way down the line. He's signed for he's here for a while, and so that's a problem for completely down the line. Y'all are soft says it starts from the top. This time of incompetency has become more and more the norm since 2012. But again, how is this incompetency? An off-ice injury? Like, it's just dooming for the sake of dooming. Danufi Hammer says, Jack has the best surgeons at his disposal. He will be back. Oh, he will be back. And hopefully the 2 months is realistic. John M. says, great ability is availability, and he's never available. Well, he's not never available. He's been available thus far every game this season. And had a great start to the year. It's super unfortunate. Gary D says, haven't some of you heard of such thing as an accident? It sucks, sure, but it's not Fitz or Jack's fault. Get a grip, people. Holy crap, some of these comments are just dumb. Yeah, welcome to the internet, Gary. Welcome to the internet. Louis says, I thought that O'Reilly basically had an unofficial no-trade clause, so he has to want to leave Nashville. I mean, let's be real, Louis. Even if he does, if Trotz goes to him and they're like, you want off this sinking ship? You want to go play for a contender in New Jersey with some exciting young kids? I'm pretty sure he would pack his bags at record pace. And, look forward to the opportunity. Zach says, when did we get confirmation that Glass is out? When he left the game, Zach. When he left the friggin' game, that's when we got confirmation. Tasha says, Pagnata says it was the pinky finger, so I guess that's positive. Oh, there's new details coming out? Again, not that it matters. The only detail that matters is the 8 weeks. And that's what we have right now. That's what we have at the moment. 8 weeks for Jack. Steven says, do we release Cody Glass out of spite? Absolutely not. We need every center we could get our hands on. There's no way Glass is going anywhere. Hopefully he comes back to David Pagnotta says it was surgery on his pinky. What a freak thing, man. Terrible. Brian says he might be back in 8 weeks, but he won't have the same shot, won't be able to make the same passes for the rest of the year. It takes months to get the feeling fully back in the fingers. I have to strongly disagree there, Brian. Especially if it's his pinky. I feel like, yeah, obviously you don't want to be hampered in any way, but if you had to be without or have one finger sort of compromised, I think the pinky is the luckiest one because he'll still be able to, I'm sure they'll have all kinds of maybe a special splint or something for him to wear under his glove to make him as comfortable as possible. But I don't think you're going to see, I don't think he's going to be that compromised. But we're going to see. Again, this is all just speculation and dooming. Michael says, Gary, everyone needs to blame someone for everything. It's pretty true. Trevor says, Dubs, Fitz doesn't get ripped off. His trades are good when he makes them. It's also why we don't see him make a lot of them. I do think that there's some truth in there. I obviously wish he was a little more active in certain seasons in the past few years. But in the end, he's never made a trade where you're like, oh my God, we got ripped off. And maybe that is part of why he's been inactive is because he doesn't want to get ripped off. But I do think this is a year where, not that you want to get ripped off, but I think an overpayment might be justified because of the need, because there is a real need. Jason says it's going to be way longer than 8 weeks. They always give a shorter time window. I mean, not always. Glass is playing. Where did you see that? Is that confirmed? I just assumed he was still out. That'd be huge if Glass is still playing. I don't think we're going to know that until right before the game. Yeah, some of the comments on X, like I don't want to totally berate people, but I just got a comment on X that is just it just lacks any sort of brain power whatsoever. But again, this is the internet. You got to know what you're dealing with. But some of these people are just miserable. Tasha says, it seems like every team is in the market for a center right now too. Yeah. There's going to be real competition, and I think a lot of these guys, the bidding wars will be intense. Ryan says, blame Frank the Tank. He was at the dinner with them, and now this happened. So Frank left the restaurant. It came out. He had posted about it. Frank had left the restaurant before the Hughes brothers arrived. Zach says Ryan O'Reilly or Cairo. Let me see. Would love either one. But again, you have to put priority on the center position. Cairo is listed as both. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's listed on different sites. Some is on wing and some is center, but they got to prioritize center. But I do like Cairo, and he has a lot of years left on his deal at a favorable cap hit. Dubs is like says, you can't, Trevor, you can't go forward with Nico, Glass, Lamico, and Glendenning as the center lineup. That is terrible. Dwayne Jetski says, I heard from a very reputable source that Jack and Nico got in a fight and Nico slashed Jack with a steak knife. Clearly, that did not happen. Alex, this should definitely tell the players to be extra careful on and off the ice. Yeah, this is one of the freakiest things I've ever heard, honestly. Super unfortunate, but like I said, I've heard of freak things happening to people. These guys are human beings, and I have friends, and like I told the story about my brother, like weird shit happens to people sometimes, and it's really unfortunate when it happens to your franchise player at a team dinner during a season that has already seen tons of guys get injured on the ice. Pro Bolt says, I'd rather see Tuck. He fleeced San Jose for Timo. He can do it again. Jay Snow, without Jack having to without Jack having to fill in, D-men are going to start to get exposed way more. Hopefully not. Billy Johnson Bagels with some overwhelming positivity here says they're going to be blown out tonight. I don't agree. Philip Kelly, how are you, sir? It's time for Plot or Nason to step up. It's time for everyone to step up. It is time for every single player to step up. Michael, if they can absorb all these injuries now and keep playing well, finding ways to stay at 500 or above these next 8 weeks, that's a lot of adversity to overcome, could prepare them well for the playoffs. Completely agree. All right, I gotta skip ahead here. Guys are very chatty, lots of dooming. John Woodson says, here comes the cat mathematicians calling for Fitz to make trades. Yeah, a lot of people want a lot of guys. Louis says, I missed the Chuck the Duck segment they used to do with him. Yeah, we talk about that. Taj says, oh my God, my shirt smells like Italian hot dog. The scent clings. It's amazing. He's 93. Yo, Holmes, Ace, landing stand. Nobody knows more about pro hockey on planet Earth than the Maven. No doubt. It was awesome to talk to him. Tasha Schaefer looks like top 10D in the league already. Dubs is like, Pro Bowl, if I'm an opposing GM right now, no way I make a lollipop deal to help the Devils. If you want me to take Plot, then it's also Nemitz in a first, just ripping us off. Well, that will not happen. Fitz was not born yesterday. He's not going to make a deal like that. And I do hope Nemo makes it long-term with this club. I do understand that, given everything with the Devils' defense, with cap restrictions, with everything else, I hope he is not dealt and he's here long-term, because Nemitz really looks like a truly, truly special guy. Dimitri says Devils can trade a D-man and a prospect draft pick and pick up Coleman or Kadri or Tuck or Ryan O'Reilly. Woodson says no trades of significance are happening. I tend to agree with you, Woodson, obviously. I don't think there's going to be one of these players brought in. I think you might see some minor pickups or minor moves here and there, but I don't think you're going to see one of these more splashy deals, but we could be wrong. Robbie's bench toss, Stan, Father Time Fisher, looking forward to what that zany man has to say. He's got a lot of takes and stories. Absolutely. Always loved Stan, and it was amazing to get to talk to him. And again, that comes out, premieres tomorrow at 6 p.m. Dubs is like, says, Pro Bowl, nobody's taking Casey. The rate has now changed. It's now Nemitz in the first if you want me to take Palat or Dougie. They should really, really try to not deal Shimo Nemitz. Dean Smith says, you Doomer should get together and have a party. We'll send you all a case of Pampers. Yeah, it's wild. Dubs is like, all these people proposing all these trades realize there's a salary cap, correct? It's not Sega Genesis NHL 94. It seems like a lot of people do live in the world of the video game, kind of wild trades in terms of, just obviously aside from completely ignoring the salary cap, but the pieces that are hypothetically swapped a lot of times are completely nuts. Husky Unchained says Brat caught fire when Jack was injured last year. I gotta catch up here. I'm skimming these. Shout out to everybody here as we mourn the news and look to the season ahead for the next 2 months without number 86. Lots of dooming in here. Ryan says Nashville is going to want Mercer as one of the pieces for Ryan O'Reilly. Barry has been after Mercer for years now. I'm a hard pass on that. My thoughts on Mercer are well documented here, and even more so now. You can't trade a guy like Mercer. Woodson, Nico plays a great two-way game, and Bratter keeps the puck in the zone. Jack doesn't do either. Okay. Frank, I tried to explain this during the live chat yesterday, but my point did not seem to come across. A cut on the hand in hockey, even a small cut, is no small thing. Today's news didn't surprise me. Yeah, it's the hand is a very delicate place to take a cut like this, and then obviously with the whole wet glove and all that, it's a lot. Woodson says LaChance another incoming McDermott. Just watch. Oh my God, come on, man. Woodson, I'm not. LaChance was scoreless in the AHL. It makes you think he'll score in the National. I'm not expecting goals out of him. Goals are bonus. Give us hard minutes on the fourth line, smash guys, and bring some of that physical element. Goals would be nice, but I'm not expecting them on the fourth line, or at least not a ton of them. Here and there would be nice. The God of nature, bring on the adversity, baby. Let's sharpen this team's grit. We are in a great position. It sucks, but let's go, boys. Fight the storm. Playoffs, playoffs, playoffs. Love to see some of you with positivity. You're obviously in the minority as the doomers, pour out of their holes in times like this. Michael says Stolar has also got scored on in my men's league 3 times in his draft year. It's easier to play for some guys at higher levels when they can more easily read the play. This team is not last year's team, SST. I don't know why you're coming out of your hole like this is some sort of celebration for you. Sickening. Quick Check has all the milkers. Every kind you could imagine. Every flavor. Creamer. Like I said, I get down as a straight-up science experiment when I'm in there. I'm mixing all kinds of stuff. Absolutely love it. Faye says, Devil Heaven, he will be reevaluated in 6 weeks and is said to be out 8 weeks. Tasha got everything plus ketchup and mustard. Very nice. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the Italian hot dog appreciators club. What an amazing time when they had them at the arena. I think I got it almost every game I went to because it was just so good. Justin Smith says, next year's injury for Jack Hughes will be he hurt himself tying his shoes. Come on, guys. Come on. John NJDevils, what's your most prized Devils jersey you own, Ace? It would be a game-worn jersey for sure. Most prized Devils jersey I own. It would definitely be a game-worn one. And it would probably either be a Marty game-worn jersey or a Cup Finals game-worn jersey. It's a tough one. They're like my children. There's so many. They'd all be game-worn jerseys for sure would be my prized possessions. Louis says, Ace, on Ryan O'Reilly, players at his stage of career that have won prioritize their family. He might not want to pick up and move again. He's already won before. I think he would hit the airport real quick. I think his family would understand. I can't see it. You could be right, but I don't think so. I think he would happily leave that sinking ship. Jason says Fitz will tell us Jack's our trade deadline move. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. Lots of dooming. Not even worth trying. Really hope we see Brown, Dougie, and Pesci back on the ice soon. Just wishing Jack a quick recovery as well. Yeah, I mean, any guy we get back is going to be a welcome addition because there are just so many guys down right now. And we're going to see how this team responds tonight. Some new faces in the lineup. Nathan Legary and Shane LaChance expected to make their debuts on the season. And the first NHL game for Shane LaChance should be. Hope he makes the most of it. Justin Smith, goaltending will keep the Devils in most games without Jack Hughes, but they will have to find others to put the puck in the net. Completely agree. Solid goaltending, solid D. Gives you a chance to win on any night. Hopefully we can find some combinations on the power play that could click, and we're going to have to really, really rely on special teams as well here in the stretch. The kill is going to have to continue to be good, and the power play is going to have to step up. They cannot go cold on nights where they get 4 or 5 and go over. Got to get one, and hopefully that can carry them to some wins as well. Daniel, Nico, and Brader really stepped up last year when Jack was out. It'll happen again. Sucks. Yes, but the parts for a championship team are still here. I agree. Tasha says they really shouldn't trade Nemo for O'Reilly, for example, right now. Who would his replacement be? Another AHLD. I don't think they're even going to remotely consider trading them at any time soon, in my opinion. With all these injuries, it's almost made him untouchable. Brian says, wake me up in mid-January. Tasha, LaChance has nice hands. He's not Big Mac. I mean, it was just a ridiculous comment by Woodson. John Woodson, the goal is to play 500 through Christmas just to stay in the hunt, if not Tank City, baby. I definitely think they play 500 at a minimum. I'd like to see them play higher than that, but that'll definitely keep them in the mix. John Wooden says people who drink coffee are strange. Well, I guess, 90% of the world is strange then. Brandon reminds me of Vegas with Mark Stone. They just expect him to be injured every year and build a team without. John, we are going to have a great post victory with Ace tonight. I hope it is. I hope it's a big win, and I hope all the Doomers stay out. But you guys all know the deal. If the Devils lose, and I hope they don't, these people will be coming out in full force and being the ridiculous people that they are. And it's all part of the territory here, I suppose. It does make post games after losses extra brutal. But y'all are soft. I even wasted my money here, unlike some who don't pay a dime but want to defend like it's their life. What is that in reference to? Damien, I guess they were not exaggerating when they said hand laceration. Well, Fitz has some calls to make and pray for our current boys to take a page from Nemo. Fun fact, Jack's middle name is Glassman. Oh, boy. Celluloid therapy. First, the medical team allows them to break bones. Now the medical team allows Jack to get cut. Get the pitchforks ready. Yeah, they got to fire all those trainers. This is all entirely their fault. And obviously, I'm being sarcastic here for those that did not pick up on it. Making fun of those that blame the medical staff or the conditioning staff for every single thing that happens as if they have some way to prevent it. Not even worth trying. I still think we play a good game tonight. This team is seasoned to playing with some adversity against them. Completely true. And now the biggest test on the season, Jack is down again. Tasha, my dad was saying how we were Devils fans and the guy working there was telling us how they were there for 3 years. Yeah, it was great in the arena. Would love to see it back, but I think that's kind of dead and gone now. Woods in society out here dropping between $5 and $10 on their daily coffee and wonder why they are living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that could be detrimental to some people, but I'd imagine that a lot of the people are not doing that, Woodson. I mean, that's a pretty wild, I don't think that is the primary thing causing people to have difficulties. I mean, that amongst other, that in conjunction with other things, but I don't think, I think you're taking a little bit out of proportion. Roman, you guys take preseason hockey too seriously. It doesn't matter if an energy player looks good. It's a goal scoring contest. Forwards need to score or play good defense. Is that in reference to LaChance? Hater Tots, my most prized jersey is my Brodeur signed jersey with like 20 signatures and about 100 pins all over from every important game I've ever been to. I jingle walking around the rock. Very nice. I'm sure that jersey weighs a ton too. 100 pins. Shit, that probably feels like armor when you put it on. John NJDevils 45. I don't wait all summer for Devils hockey, then doom all season. They're best months of hockey. Let's go Devils. Could not agree with you. Could not agree with you more, John. Devil Heaven Ace, happy Saturday. You sizzle just rubberneck. What's going on? Scott's got some line combos here. Bratt, Mercer, Meyer, Gritz, Heischer, Palat, Cotter, LaChance, Nason, Lamico, Glendenning, Legary. I don't know if LaChance would play center. But if he does, those are some intriguing lines. I mean, there's a lot of interesting possibilities. And we'll see tonight. I'd imagine we might see some shuffling even from what we start with. Mitch, this is good practice for when Jack gets hurt in the playoffs. I'm sorry, but none of the Hughes brothers can stay healthy. Oh, ridiculous. Doomer. Insane Pollock, Ace, get rid of SST again. He makes new names here just for bad news. It's ridiculous. Well, I'll keep an eye on him. Devil having a lot of injuries across the league is nuts. Absolutely. Insane Pollock, he revels in our misery. Oh, he does, for sure. He's sure, but I'm not going to boot him just for being a miserable human. When he starts saying crazy stuff, then he will get the boot again if he does that. Hopefully he doesn't. Key players out for every team across the board. Yeah, there's new injuries every day around the league. It doesn't make me feel any better about the Devils being hurt, and especially being hurt in off-ice freak incidents. And this is certainly one of the most bizarre, players getting hurt stories of all time. At a restaurant, at a team dinner. I mean, it's nuts. Hater Tots, people are forgetting without Jack and Luke, the team took Carolina to OT in almost every game. We are good even without them. Yeah, they don't have players getting hurt outside of the game, though, which is true. Roman Checkmonic, why does the medical staff not get stronger glasses for the players to drink out of? I know, right? SST says, maybe Runnin will have some courage and announce that Suk was not me because he now knows Suk and me are different persons. I don't know that, SST, and I don't care enough to talk about this. I still believe it probably was you, but I don't really care either way. Devil Heaven, love McEwen's game. Ryan, for everyone that wants O'Reilly, if it's not Mercer, it'll be Casey. Yegor and a couple first-round picks. That's an insane ask. Completely insane ask for that. And I don't know that people are going to pay that price. If that's the case, they could hold on to him. I'm not paying that. I might give him Casey in a first, but not much more than that. I think that would be like my ceiling. Casey in a first. How much more do you think you're going to get for O'Reilly? Robbie's bench toss says, housing costs and groceries, but sure, blame it on coffee and avocado toast. How boomer of you, Woodson. Richard says, Woodson, people are spending way more on lottery tickets and scratch-offs than coffee. I laugh because nobody's winning anything newsworthy in Bergen County. Coffee is not the problem. Yeah, gambling in general. It is interesting how mainstream it has become over the years in terms of sports betting, lottery, casino. Just gambling has been rammed down the public's throat, I feel like, in the past couple of years. It's pretty wild. Generals player who's going to have to step up for the Devils? The short answer to that is everyone. Everyone. Nico, Bratt, Timo, guys like Cotter, Pally, Nason. We are going to need everyone to step it up and drag this team to some ugly wins on some nights. Devil Evan says, Michael, no doomers allowed in here, brother. Go over to the Rangers podcast for that. Generals player, is Brad or Mercer going to be the next look for everyone? What do you mean by next look? Justin says, can you ban SST again? If he does something ban-worthy, if he's just being annoying, it's hard for me to justify banning him for that, but he is obnoxious. Ryan, when the Devils went after Saros, the trade Barry wanted was Mercy, Casey, 2 firsts and a second. I mean, that's insane. I'm very glad that he didn't do that trade. That's an insane trade. Mike says Posh says they got to. You mean Pasha says they got to sue the restaurant? We don't know what really happened, and I think that's a difficult thing to sue a restaurant for. Outside of if there was some gross negligence on their part, and again, we don't know the story, so I'm not even going to speculate on stuff we know nothing about. SST said, if you don't care, that means you don't care about banning other people. Now I am no longer a lone person who got banned. Well, I mean, if you're obnoxious and say stupid stuff for an extended period of time, you could be banned. I'm not in the business of looking to ban people, but when you infringe on other people's, enjoyment of something because you're just saying nonsense and being overly negative, then you're going to get banned. Tasha says, gambling is a big no, the equivalent of burning money. Well, it's good that you know that at such a young age. It really is pretty much lighting money on fire. Michael says, to quote the great Joe Dirt, just got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden. Dig it. I like that. Tasha says, SST, didn't you write Ace a hate email? Yeah, he did. Several of them, actually. Several of them. I forgot about that. I might lifetime ban him for that. I forgot what a clown he is. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, he sent nonsense in an email. That might be enough to throw him out again, actually. Skimming his email. I can't waste more time with this, but I don't know what that was either. Chris, so it's Jack, Donov, Brown, Pesci, Kovacevic, Hamilton, Glass, and McEwen. What is going on right now? Our whole team is injured, guys. It is what it is. Mike says there's no real move to make here trade-wise. I mean, there is, but if it's going to be if it's going to be a ridiculous asking price from other GMs, then I don't think it's going to happen. Everyone would love to see one of these moves happen, but it has to make sense. And if people are asking for these ridiculous returns, then I think you will see them kind of, maybe make some minor moves and let another team overpay for some of these guys. I certainly don't think Fitz is going to do it. Devil Evans said, I heard both Kachuk injuries came by deep frying a turkey at home. Oh, boy. SST, I sent him an email because he banned me for no reason, and more importantly, he banned Suk for simply saying things I say. I'm still convinced it was you. Again, I don't care. You got banned because you were being a jerk and saying nonsense. Ryan, I fully agree. Barry wants King's ransom for all of his players unless they're like Askarov and give away for 2 BS players in a first. John Face says, do it, Ace. Dwayne Jetski, Luke and Jack for Cider and Raymond. Zach, what kind of dork sends hate mail? SST. Select the Boy says, everyone has to step up tonight. Oregano Dealer says, poor SST, Ace's whipping boy. Oh, this might be, I didn't know that Oregano could be another potential SST burner. Who knows? I can't keep track anymore. Devil Heaven, remember once again, our Devils are only human. Shit happens. Let's stay positive. Ace is not dying. Mike O'Con, Ace, remember when you won the wing eating contest at the Rutgers game? Classic. Did I tell that story on here? I told you guys that story? I don't remember telling that story. Del Evans, I don't think Jack has touched alcohol. I don't think he drinks like that either, to be honest. So, for all the people talking about, alcohol being involved, I think it's just gross negligence to even speculate that and put that out there as like a thing. We don't know what happened at all. Dean says Glass is back according to the projected lineup. The projected lineup where? What projected lineup? Hater tots, Tasha. Oh, well, better just pack up the season since Jack is down. Robbie's bench toss. The center market is already thin. Just ask Vancouver. We'll get through it with Mercer. Hopefully. Oregano Dealer says Glass being back is humongous if true. I mean, he couldn't get injured 3 times in consecutive games, right? The odds are impossible, right? Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Selected boy. Anyways, I'm going to head out. See you all tonight. See you later. Brandon, time to get something together to get Ryan O'Reilly. Devil Heaven, I'd like to see Cotter on 3C. It seems like the team is hesitant to put him back there because we haven't seen it yet. I don't know if we ever will see it. They may do everything in their power to avoid it, but it seemed like they did not really hesitate too much to put Mercer at center when necessary, and so that's obviously going to come into play again. I don't know about Cotter, but it is nice to have a guy that has played there before. Oregano says I'm not an SST burner. I promise. Selected boy, pump up the likes for Ace. Yeah, thanks. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Yallersoft says everyone has a different opinion as SST except Woodson. No, but if you talk very similarly, you're going to be accused. Ethan says I blame Frank. He wasn't there. Frank the Tank is vindicated. He left the restaurant before the Hughes brothers arrived. You cannot put this on Frank. Tasha said, okay. Woodson is my burner account. Mike, how about signing Mikey McLeod? No, it's not going to happen. Just kidding. Yeah, no, the team will never do that. SST says Woodson was an original SST burner, but then he got smart. John Fay, we can't even if we wanted to. He's inked in the KHL. Donald J. Trump says, of course it is. It's staged. It's J.W. Hughes. I'm so confused by what that means. Brandon says, how would you feel about Casey and some picks for Ryan O'Reilly? I would like that deal. I liked Casey and wanted him to be here long-term too. But the reality is we have so many defensemen. His path to a full-time position with the Devils is kind of jammed up with all the guys we have. And unfortunately, he seems like a logical piece to dangle in a trade like this. That would be my most ideal move, Brandon, would be to trade, whether it's O'Reilly or another guy like him, a guy like Casey and maybe a prospect and a pick or 2 picks, whatever it is. But that is a deal that I would like because it does not affect the current roster. And I'm very much against gutting the roster or trading a big piece. Casey hasn't been playing for the Devils, obviously, and first-round picks are assets that will not help us for years from now. And so in any potential trade for a guy like O'Reilly, my most preferred kind of package to offer would be a guy like Casey and a first-round pick or, a first and a second, whatever it is, something along those lines because you're trading pieces away that are not on the roster today. Scott, I do not want to see Lamico Lamico in the top 9 personally. Cotter and Nason way more valuable. Throw in LaChance, and that's a nasty line to play against with scoring upside. Maybe Glendening for faceoffs. I'm not mad at it. Mike Casey is definitely the centerpiece. Big Cheese Make Me. Wasn't there a photo of Frank with all the boys? There was, but then he clarified. If you look at the photo of Frank, and I guess I'll put it up here. I have it available here, so why not show it, right? The photo with Frank, the Hughes brothers are not in it because Frank later revealed that he had left the restaurant before the Hughes brothers arrived. So that is why they are not in the photo. And so by that explanation, he was not present for the injury that was sustained. All right, there's someone at my doorbell. I'll be back 1 second, guys. But here's the photo of Frank. And then I'll obviously show this is the other photo now with Jack. One of the most eerie photos of all time, right? With Jack holding a jersey of the restaurant named Chicago Cut. It looks like they probably all signed it. I'll be back 1 second. Let me just get this door. I'll be back 1 second. But there's the photo. And so this has nothing to do with Frank the Tank. I know a lot of people hate on him for whatever reason. I'm not super opinionated on him one way or another. I know he's a diehard Devils fan, and some people find his yelling and stuff obnoxious. It doesn't really bother me per se that much, but I understand why some people do. But be right back. 1 second. All right, had to sign for a package. But there's the team. And this is a photo that will go down in history, obviously. The bad side of history, as the night that Jack suffered one of the flukest injuries in the history of the New Jersey Devils, an off-ice injury that cost him 8 weeks of the regular season, a season which still has so much promise and started off great individually for Jack Hughes and the team alike. We currently sit, again, a reminder, guys, zoom out a little bit. Obviously, it sucks Jack is hurt. We are still first place in the Eastern Conference, number 1. For how long remains to be seen, but as of right now, they are in first place. And for everyone saying the season is over, you're crazy. Completely crazy. All right, getting back to the comments here. John Fay, the way Nemo is playing, if he can keep it up, it's going to be Casey on the chopping block. Well, at this point, it would be delusional if you thought that the team would not prefer to keep Nemitz, obviously. Not only is he in the lineup every night, he's playing at a super high level, got the first hat trick for a New Jersey Devils defenseman in 41 years. Clearly, the team would prefer to keep him over Casey. Now, you know, when he's calling these other GMs looking to make deals, obviously they're all going to be targeting Nemitz over Casey. But if I'm Fitz, I'm just telling them, sorry, boys, but Nemo is untouchable. Completely untouchable. Michael Kahn says, I knew we had to be patient with Nemitz, and now we see why other teams are so interested, cannot trade him. Yeah, I was down on him a little bit at random times, but I think at one point I was down to probably trade him, but I never wanted to. It was always like a reluctancy type thing. Like if you ever, you know, if we were in a spot to get a big name player, I would have begrudgingly dealt him. But now I think he's played his way into that untouchable category, unless it's something like truly earth shattering, but I'd hate to see him leave. The man from Jersey, Ace, I just want to give you your flowers for what you're doing with your channel. A nice space for us Devils fans to gather and talk about the team. Oh, thank you very much, the man from Jersey. I appreciate that. It's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to do cool stuff. I have a lot of big plans for the future. We'll see how many of them I could actually make happen. But I've enjoyed it for the most part. I obviously don't enjoy the excessive doomers and the negativity, but it comes with the territory. But I really appreciate that. Thank you. Devil Evan 77, let's take these dinosaurs in Washington down tonight. Brandon, veteran experience and can help massive in playoffs, and Nashville struggles continue. Yeah, everyone's trying to pilfer their roster. I mean, listen, every team is trying to get better. Whether these trades actually happen to the Devils or any other team remains to be seen. But it seems like Trotz specifically really, really wants crazy high returns for his players. Tasha, I got to go. Everyone hit the like to ward off the evil injury spirits. Thanks, Tasha. Maybe we'll see you later. Big Cheese, I thought there was another one with the boys holding up a jersey. I just showed that. Diego would love Ryan O'Reilly. Casey plus picks would make a lot of sense. Plot being included would open the cap space, obviously, if Nash isn't on his no trade list. I just can't see, I think Palat would really try to fight that. And again, I always defend Palat. He has value to this club. It's not $6 million of value, but, and I get it, to free up cap space, it is the most logical piece to move on from, but I just don't know what the appetite is going to be from other teams. What that will be. John, if Nemo can keep playing the way he is, I do see Casey being the one to be dealt for someone. Yeah, I'm curious what his value would be in the market, but I'm sure there's tons of teams that'd be interested in obtaining a guy like him. I do, again, super young. I think let me just double check on his age. I think he's 21. Yeah, he's 21 years old. I mean, still plenty of time to develop. And we're even seeing with Nemo and Luke. They're still very young kids in this league, and they're going to get better with time. Casey definitely could be a very good defender in this league for years to come, and we will see how that plays out for him, whether it's with the Devils, with it's another if it's on another team, we don't know. But I think Casey is going to be a good player in this league one way or another. Devil Heaven says, Halo with another great game in Utica, referring to Brian Hallinan. John Fay, let's hope we can remain in first after tonight. That certainly would be nice. Mike O'Con, not as bad as Eliash getting hepatitis in Europe. Yeah, another super freak incident from years ago where Patty got sick overseas. And yeah, that was a pretty brutal one too. Patrick Eliash missing a ton of time there. I think, was it something he ate? I forget all the details around that one, but another kind of off-ice bizarre incident. Let me see what else we got here. Man, I'm just jacked up for this game tonight. I'm curious to see what these lines are going to be, what the power play is going to be. So many questions. So many questions. We'll get some answers in 4 short hours from now. Logan Thompson is in against the Devils. We don't know who's in the net for the Thompson in net against the Devils. We don't know who's in net for the Devils yet. I could see this one going either way. I'm watching. I'm trying to see.
And then recalled Shane LaChance. I refuse to let this be a Devils download of simply news that you don't want to hear. So
we're getting to good news.
If Shane LaChance does get into the lineup, it would mark his NHL debut. The Devils in the midst of a 5-game road trip. They picked up 2 points in Chicago and are looking to do the exact same thing here in Washington.
And not much great news. Yeah, it was just LaChance. Not really anything groundbreaking that we didn't already know. SST, off topic. Thanks for the Peluso interview, but you haven't asked him my questions. You asked me to mail you over 2 years ago so you could ask Peluso. Imagine we were best buddies with Running 2 years ago. I'm going to have Mike on again. I kind of got sidetracked. We went all over the place, but I still have a ton to talk to Mike about. What a legend. For those that didn't see that, let me drop that in the chat. If you haven't seen it, check out the Mike Peluso interview. Great storyteller. I had a great time talking to 1995 Cup champ Mike Peluso. I just dropped that link in the chat for you there. And premiering tomorrow at 6 p.m. Hope to see some of you in the chat. The latest from the interview series, my conversation with Stan the Maven Fischler. Just what an amazing guy. What a career he's had and the life he's had. I dropped that link in the chat as well. Devs fan Josh, part of me wonders if Zach and Mike coming back to Jersey soon as a result of all of this. People love a good reunion, right? I wouldn't be against it. Zach, one of those guys that I think a reunion could make sense. But with the Bruins playing much better as of late, I don't know that they're going to be looking to deal a guy like him either. But it does seem like our fan base loves a reunion. And a lot of times I think they're guys that, we probably shouldn't look to bring back. But every year, it seems there's a guy or two that everyone's clamoring to bring back. And I guess this year, so far, it's been Blake Coleman. Michael says, if Fitz had better trainers, Patty would have never gotten hepatitis from overseas sushi. Mike, I don't think Elias was ever really the same after that. Mike, let's get the W tonight. Caps are older, but play super heavy, tough game. Tom says, hell of a silver lining. Ryan, Cody Glass is day-to-day, so we might be playing. I don't think he's gonna. If I had to guess, I would say that he doesn't, but I hope I'm wrong. I mean, Cody Glass would be an enormous, an enormous addition back into the lineup tonight if he does play. I'm not expecting it, but it would be nice. Would love to see it. And hopefully it's sooner than later because we are going to desperately need all the help we can get at center, and you're going to see Mercer play center tonight. Very curious what the lines look like, and maybe we don't find that out until much closer to the game. Be curious to see what Amanda posts about that. Let's see if the Devils wrote anything else here. Nope, all quiet. Keith is set to speak to the media in about an hour and a half, I think. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, the Twitter X is in a complete meltdown. This might be the most notifications I've ever had. And a lot of them are just complete dooming. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't even know how I'm going to. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I don't have anything else in closing here. I still don't believe this photo. I mean, my God. What a ridiculous. Knowing how the night ended, I mean, this was just one of the most eerie foreshadowing photos I've probably ever seen. And the fact that the restaurant Chicago cut, he got cut. I mean, you can't script it any more just super odd situation. hopefully the boys buckle down and find a way, guys. I still have faith in this club. I will not give up on this team. Neither should you. Off to a nice start, and they got to keep it going. Next man up. Continue to find ways to win games and hold it down until we get more healthy. Probably get guys will be trickling back in the next, 4 to 6 weeks. We'll get a guy here, a guy there, and hopefully they could find the top of their game, because I still think we haven't seen it yet. Mason's photo needs to be deleted from existence. Ryan, if you pull up Glass on Fantasy, it says day-to-day as well with returning today, so I'm with you and hope he plays tonight. Yeah. Chuckle says probably best if he misses the Olympics. If he returns in that 8-week time frame, there's zero chance he misses the Olympics. Like, none. He will be playing for Team USA in Italy. He's not going to miss that. Yeah, Mike Hunt, he's going to miss about 30 games. Yeah, let me just see. I'll just do a quick count on the calendar here. So we'll go. I'll even give it the full 2 months, which would bring it to January 15th. So you're talking about from now till January 15th, including tonight. So we got 1, 4, 8 games through November. 8, 12, 15, 18, 21, 23, 24, 27. Yep, 30 right on the head. If he returns January 17th, that home game against Carolina, that's a big one circled on the calendar. Now it could be for 2 reasons. January 17th could be the much anticipated rematch with the Hurricanes after that gross opening night game against them on the road in Raleigh. And it could be the triumphant return of number 86 to our beloved New Jersey Devils. Sherry says, still waiting for the game to start. I don't give a damn. Ryan, going to the Olympics would actually do Jack good to get him ready for the final stretch. I agree. Metalhander says, Ace, help me with the timing of this mess. The Hawks game was Wednesday. Why are they still in Chicago on Thursday night? And how does Jack get a surgery a day later in NYC? So the way the schedule broke out, they did say prior to this road trip that they were splitting it up in half, essentially. So what they were planning on doing was after the game tonight, they're returning home to New Jersey. Now, I'm not very clear whether they're flying home right away tonight or it's going to be tomorrow morning, but they played in Chicago, and obviously they had that Thursday day. The team elected to stay in Chicago versus going right to D.C. because, I'm assuming most players would and team personnel would rather be in Chicago than Washington, D.C. That's just my guess. And they were probably planning on going to D.C., I would imagine, yesterday morning, probably. I think that is what they did. They had a quick practice, I think, and then flew into D.C. So after the game tonight, whether it's tonight or tomorrow morning, they're actually returning to New Jersey for a day or a day and a half before they go to Florida. Presify says everyone's leaving 1-star reviews at the steakhouse. That's super unfortunate. And that sucks. As a former business owner, stuff like this, like clearly the restaurant had nothing to do with this. And granted, I think they're a very known establishment, so this silliness probably won't affect them that much. But people doing this in large groups because of something they had no control over to go on and like trash their ratings, I think is in very poor taste. And it could affect someone's livelihood. I don't think it will affect this particular restaurant just because they're established. But yeah, there's a lot of people hitting them with 1-star reviews, and it really sucks for them. I would never do something like this. And it's unfortunate that, there's just tons of them. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I do hope for the restaurant's sake they're able to get these things taken off, but it's really unfortunate. They're just getting absolutely decimated with the 1-star things. Ryder, they were doing practice in Chicago on Friday. Keith said it himself. Ryder said people leaving bad reviews is an abomination. I completely agree. Completely agree. It really sucks. I think they're established enough here where it's not going to kill them. But if this was like a smaller independent restaurant, it could be very damning if you didn't have a ton of reviews already built up and you just got hit with a wave of 1-star reviews from people that never ate at your establishment. And I'm going to rant about this for a minute because I was kind of involved in something like this before. It's ridiculous that these platforms just allow anyone to anonymously trash and tarnish a business. You should be at a minimum required to upload like at least a receipt or something proving that you ate there. The fact that you could go on and just essentially with a group of people attack someone's business with complete nonsense is just complete scumbag behavior, in my opinion. And I wish these platforms did something to, vet the people posting, because in this exact instance, they're going to get hit with all these 1-star reviews from people that have never eaten at their restaurant and that are foolishly and childishly blaming them for Jack getting injured. And it sucks. It really sucks. Presify says, I agree. The influx of 1-star reviews will definitely lower their rating heavily. Yeah, it's terrible. Metalhander, if you sever ligaments in a finger, do you wait a day for treatment and travel with the open injury? Yeah, obviously they wanted their specialist to do it. I'm sure he was at a local hospital where he was attended to, where maybe he got some, this is just me speculating, but he got some sort of preliminary stitches or wrapping treatment. Whatever it was, they got it to a point where it was not threatening anymore and where he was able to then travel to New York City where the team had their preferred specialist do the surgery that he needed. Because the world is stupid, it could hurt someone's livelihood. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ryan, I think the picture is real. Where no one is debating the picture. The picture is 100% real. No one has ever, that came from Gritsuk posted that the picture is 1,000% real. Presify, pretty sure they went from 5 stars to 4.4 already. Yeah, that's crazy. And if they were like a small independent restaurant in this scenario, they could have went from 5 stars to like 1 overnight from childish people's behavior. Mike says, Nemit's going to see some forward action, I bet. No, Mike, that's definitely not going to happen. I don't know where, I'm not sure where everyone kind of came up with this idea. I don't know. I just feel like it's a silly thing where people have just assumed that offensive defensemen or just defensemen in general are just going to play forward randomly. Like, that's not going to happen. Michael, humans as a whole took massive steps backward with the invention of social media. I would say it's even the internet, Michael. But in the end, the internet is a microcosm or representation of the people walking around in everyday life. And I hate to be kind of negative in this fashion, but I do think as a whole, humans are in trouble. Some of the things I witness and see in my everyday life, walking around wherever it is, humans are in trouble. And I really have no words for it. I've never felt more normal and well-adjusted in my life as I have in the past few years, seeing some of the ridiculous sights and human beings that I've come across. World's Worst Gamer, so that makes sense. Providing a receipt would be a good idea. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to just blindly bash someone's business that you never patronized. Like, you never spent $1 in that restaurant, but now because this website exists, you are entitled to log on there with any name you want, anonymously, cowardly, and bash their business. World's Worst Gamer, still not hearing the full story of what went on. That is my concern. Just get that out of your head. You're never going to get the full story. At least not anytime in this decade. Maybe it's something someone tells the story, like someone pointed out last night, 20 years from now in a podcast or something, but you're never going to hear it anytime soon. And so if that's what you're waiting for, you're going to be waiting a very long time. Mike says, agree 100% on the Yelp culture. World's Worst Gamer, if Jack was not acting professionally as the team would expect, I would like him fined and suspended. Serve the suspension after he comes back from the injury. That is never going to happen, number one. We need him back as soon as possible. And again, this is a lot of speculation that he was not acting professionally. This could be exactly what they're saying it is. Some freak accident, however it happened. And he's paying the price of not playing for 2 months and having to sit home and watch games on television. Michael says our only right-handed D-man is not going to get moved to forward. John, I truly hope Grits steps up and fills in this 8-week gap. Would love to see Grits explode some more. Would love to see Grits kick it up a notch. He's been a very pleasant surprise for the Devils on the season, and hopefully he just continues to get better and better. And it sucks even more for him because he loves Jack Hughes, by the way. For those that don't know, he calls him Genius, Jack the Genius. And he was going to play on a top line with him probably for a little bit here, at least with, Grits playing with Jack and Mercer. And now that's obviously derailed. And we're going to see what these lines look like tonight. I'm very curious. And again, the power play combo is very curious what Sheldon Keefe decides to do with that. Meadowlander, remember when Jack went out last year, they restructured the offense to a team concept and Meyer stood up. Yeah, everyone's going to have to stand up. It is time to elevate your game and contribute in any way possible. And it's going to have to be a team effort. Steven, they do this stuff because most people are brainwashed morons and a bunch of followers, no thinking for themselves, the same people who watch the nightly news and think it's what's really going on in the world. Completely agree. Rest in peace, independent thought, right, Stephen? Most people don't have it, and I think you're right. Most people are sheep and followers. It's unfortunate. It's the society and culture we live in today, and you're seeing it play out in real time for this poor restaurant that hosted the Devils where Jack Hughes got hurt, and now they're getting just completely decimated with one-star reviews. It's a complete shame. I think that's just such low-class behavior, but people don't care. People have no morals, class, or anything anymore. Nature versus nurture. Memories of Jelena playing with the Nemitz comment, but not a chance. Man, I really thought Jelena was going to have a long stint with us. Big boy with an absolute cannon blast of a shot. The Four Directions heartbroken, but still got to support the team. World's Worst Gamer says, I was extremely pissed that Jelena never got that opportunity. He had some bombs. He had some absolute bombs. Michael says he definitely didn't play forward for NJ last year. When and where? I mean, it didn't happen, Michael. It didn't happen. The Four Directions haven't missed a game yet. The season sucks to see the big guys go down. Yeah, and now it's time for everyone else to step up. Curious to see where Paulie Cotter plays. Would love to see Paulie Cotter get a little bump up the lineup and make something happen. Rich says, I think Gritsuk is going to shine during Jack's absence. Ryan, as I say every day, common sense is a dying thing. It certainly is. Four Directions. Thankfully, I didn't buy my tickets for the Devils and Jets game in January. It would have been 2 years in a row I couldn't see Jack. I would still go to the game, obviously, and I am still going to be going to a ton of home games despite Jack Hughes not playing. Obviously, you want to see Jack, and it sucks that he's not playing, but I'm still going to go see the team and support the team that I love so dearly, our beloved New Jersey Devils. And we're still in first place. The season is not over. Everything is fine. Everyone needs to take a step back and just take a deep breath. Do not let these overwhelming negative idiots on every social media platform who is screaming that the season's over and this and that. And just tune it out, guys. Tune it out. Our hockey team is in first place, and they're going to have to find a way to keep winning games. But I'm not going to doom like these people, and I'm not going to give up on this club. It's unfortunate luck, but they gotta persevere. Ethan, did you see what some fans have wrote on the restaurant's review page? I skimmed it for a second here. Yeah, referring to the injury and utensil. It's all just stupidity. I feel bad for the restaurant, honestly. LJ, thank you for the super. Many modern fans would have traded half the cup teams. Oh, I completely agree, LJ. People, by and large, are just clueless. It is what it is. Wasted Youth Caper, the curse is real, Ace. I was going through the schedule, and they should hold their own with a 16-7-1 record. My God, that would be – if that somehow held up, Wasted Youth, if we went 16-7-1 for these games without Jack, that would be an overwhelming victory for the New Jersey Devils. Way better than anyone could imagine. So what is that, 24 games? 16-7-1. So that's what, 24 games, and you're saying 33 points out of 48. Yeah, that's almost 700 points percentage hockey. That's 688 points percentage hockey. I hope you're right. That would be a massive, massive win for this team, Wasted Youth, if they were able to do that. Mike, I'm the only one that remembers a game or two at forward when they struggled defensively. Did I dream that? I think you did, Mike. I think you did. Michael, not worried about Wilson. He's toned it down lately and no one from NJ as an injured Caps player this year, so don't expect anything initiated from him. Ryan, have a few things to get done before the game. Let's go Devils and get the win tonight. Oh, would love to be drinking victory drinks tonight. Love to drink the victory drinks. Four Directions, I don't even want to read the reviews. It's get me steaming. People are idiots. Yeah, they are. Chuckles are playing much better this year. Not worried at all. Actually, only expecting they'll have to tough it out to hold first or second. Meadowlander, reportedly Montreal and Vancouver are talking to Buffalo about Tage. We need to jump them and shake him loose. I don't think we have the realist. I mean, we have the bullets to get him, but I don't think it would be worth it, personally. I just think he's going to require too much too much going the other way. All right, guys, that's it. Appreciate you all. Keep the faith. We're still in first place. Jack is out for 8 weeks. It really sucks, but I have faith in this team. They're going to buckle down and find a way to win. We're going to need big-time contributions and everyone to step up, whether it's the goaltending, the defenders, the forwards. We're going to see probably Shane LaChance make his NHL debut tonight. Legary making his 25-26 season debut. And that's it. I'll be back after the game. Hopefully, we are celebrating a big New Jersey Devils victory. Thank you all for coming out despite the horrible news. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. I got plenty of stuff in the works. Like I mentioned, if you haven't seen the Mike Peluso interview, check that out on the channel. I have the Stan Fischler interview coming out tomorrow at 6 p.m. in the premiere. Hope to see some of you guys in the chat. I'll be there along for that. And obviously back after the game with the post game, and hopefully it's victory drinks and celebrating a big New Jersey Devils win in DC with all of you. I'll see you all later on tonight. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.